Tuesday. Should we bring in Max?
Yeah, let's bring Max Hall in.
It's always a pleasure to welcome BYU's all-time winningest quarterback to the show. So Max has high school football practice in Arizona here in just a couple of minutes. We taped literally 10 minutes ago, and let's get with our visit of the great Max Hall. All right, Max, let's get an update on your Achilles, which ruptured during the Alumni Game back in March. How are you doing, and will you be a game-time decision for the Alumni Game this next spring?
There is no game time decision. I'm in for next spring. I don't care how much tape and brace I got to put on. I can't end my Alumni Game career like that. You know what I mean? I at least need to show face. Even if it's just calling plays, I'm going to be there.
And to clarify for everybody, like, you didn't injure it in the game, right? This was like a post type of a play celebration injury, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was definitely not in the game, and I was celebrating an incomplete pass.
Oh, man.
Because what had happened is Kalani said, hey, each team has one more drive. So John went down, scored, but incomplete on the extra point. I was celebrating that because
All right, Max, let's get an update on your Achilles, which ruptured during the Alumni Game.
Celebrating an incomplete pass.
Oh, man.
Because what had happened is Kalani said, hey, each team has one more drive. So John went down, scored, but incomplete on the extra point. I was celebrating that because I got the last drive to go down. So I was like, yes, if we score, we get the extra point, this thing's over. Got a little too excited, I guess. And, I've been telling people, it feels like someone hit you with a golf club, like a 4-iron in the back of the heel right there, right in the Achilles, man.
We felt so bad for you. However, if you aren't completely healed, even though it sounds like you will be, we do need a sideline reporter for our broadcast.
Yeah, you could join us if it's not. But I think you're going to be ready.
I might just have to do a little bit of everything. Entertainer, coach, call play, sideline. I just want to be around and be part of the crew, man. That event is so awesome. But the recovery's going well. I'm walking around. I'm able to be at practice, and I'm just over 3 months, so I got probably another 2.5 months before I'm really starting to be active again.
Cool. And you guys are starting the same time, really, that BYU's starting with their practice. I want to talk a little bit about both. Let's start with some big picture news, though. What do you think about Colorado joining the Big 12 and all the news around that in the last couple of days?
Yeah, I followed it a little bit, not a lot. It just seems like everybody's trying to get out of the Pac-12. Nobody wants to be there anymore. And I know there's been some controversy with it, but I don't know. I was excited with the teams that were already in the Pac-12. And in my opinion, I don't know if Colorado's a great addition or not. I don't know, but I'll let you experts kind of talk about that. And I'm just excited that BYU's getting to be in that conference. And I hope it works out well for us.
Now
I don't know who else they're going to let in.
You're in Arizona. What's the buzz about the Wildcats? There's a lot of thought that the Wildcats might be the team that joins Colorado.
First of all, who cares about the Wildcats, man? I grew up an ASU fan. They need to go independent or something. I don't know, but I don't know what ASU's thinking either. I haven't really had an opportunity to talk to some of the coaches I know down here.
Yeah.
I don't agree with U of A.
It's funny because my theory on all of this, the Colorado thing, is this, Max, that these teams know there's going to be some musical chairs. They're waiting for the deal from the Pac-12 to be announced, and some of that was announced today, where they found out that it was worth a lot less than anybody thought. It was a streaming deal, not a linear deal. But it has potential if they can sell a bunch of subscriptions. Well, these teams have all heard that before with the Pac-12 network and didn't get any subscriptions, right? So that was a bust. And so, but I think Colorado was thinking, you know what? There's going to be musical chairs, and there's only so many chairs. We're maybe the least desirable program in this league, but we kind of have an offer out there. We should take a chair right now before the music stops. And I think that was probably a smart move for them. And I think maybe Arizona was thinking the same way. I know the Big 12 is really high on basketball, and for that reason, Arizona is coveted a little bit because they're a very good basketball program. Even an ASU guy could admit that, right?
Oh, no, I'll admit that all day. I didn't really think about the other sports and how that would impact in the Big 12, but just the football program, right. I just don't think they're I don't think they're that caliber of a team that should be in that league.
Well, I think BYU likes the idea because they can beat them.
Yeah, there's two more teams BYU can beat, right?
And give them a game where they feel, this is a win. This is a guaranteed win going into it, right?
Former BYU quarterback Max Hall's on the Wise Guys tonight on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and ysguys.com. The Cougars' first football practice wrapped up a short time ago. What were you like on the first day of fall workouts? Were you excited? Were you just hot? What do you remember?
Oh, yeah. I mean, excited, giddy, like just butterflies, everything that goes with that, because football is starting, and the smell of the grass and just everything that goes with it, man. I love it. I was a guy who loved practice. Now, I understand practice is a lot easier for quarterbacks than it is, let's say, D linemen, right? Yeah. But I loved being out at practice, and I tried to take advantage of it every day. But I went into the mindset like, hey, this is day one right here. And, I even tell my players all the time, it's like those days got to add up. We got to brick by brick till we build the house, right? So every day was important to me. And day one was like the tone. How are we going to set the tone for camp? What is this going to be like for us? What kind of goals do we have? What's our vision for the season? And now let's start putting it into action, right? We've talked about it. We've gotten through summer. We think we know the team we have. Let's figure out who our guys are and, what the identity of this team is going to be.
BYU has a new quarterback. No Jaron Hall there this year. He's another Arizona guy. Kedon Slovis is the guy that's expected to be the man. Of course, he transferred in because of that. Arizona kid. He's not a new quarterback by any sense of the word. He's started for 3 years, 2 at USC and 1 at Pitt. Yeah. If you're Kedon Slovis now, with his experience and all that, what are you working on this week as you finally have all the weapons around you and it's for real now at BYU?
It's exactly what you just said. It's for real. And guess what? He's been there before. That's what's so cool about that. He has done this before, going into a season, preparing to be a starting quarterback. So he knows what to do. He knows what it takes. I think the biggest thing for him is to get his teammates to love him and trust him. And the saying, Blaine, as the quarterback goes, the team goes. So he has got to take ownership over the team. And he's got to do things more than just what's required of them in practice or in meetings, right? He's got to do more, and he's got to hold his teammates accountable, because at the end of the day, it's his show. Yeah, it's his show. Coach Doman used to say, Max, you're the last line of defense out there. We can prepare you, we can call the play, all that, but in the moment, it's you. So he has to be not just get himself prepared. He's got to get his team prepared. And I'm not talking about just offense. He's got to get his whole team prepared with the right mindset and attitude going into game one.
Max, I said this on Sports Nation this morning, and Jaron and Spencer looked at me. They're like, yeah, maybe that's true. I know you're a little biased like me, but I made the statement that the quarterback position in football is the most important individual position in any team sport, in any sport in the world. Is that too much of a stretch, or would you buy in on that?
That's 100% true. 100% true. When you take everything into account that a quarterback has to do, as far as not only just skill set and mechanics and fundamentals, the intangibles, the leadership part of it, the quick decision making, being able to lead a team, all that stuff goes into it. It is the hardest position. Being an NFL, especially an NFL quarterback, that is the hardest position in sports. Some people will argue that, hitting a fastball in the major leagues is kind of up there, which I agree with, the hand-eye coordination and all of that. But as far as everything that goes into playing a position, there's nothing like playing quarterback.
Yeah, and he already said it, Dave, is like, as the quarterback goes, I believe that. If you're really good at that position, you're good. And if you're not, you are not good. So here's hoping that Kedon is really good.
I'm shocked to sit here with two quarterbacks and listen to the two of you in agreement on that position. Hey, what can you tell us?
You agree with us.
He knows it.
What can you tell us about Jackson Bowers, 6'5", 4-star tight end from the Mesa area? He's getting ready for his freshman season. Does he have any Dennis Pitta in him?
I hope so. I got to see him a little bit last summer, and then I got to get some film on him during the season, and there's definitely some things he needs to work on. But from what I hear, he's gotten in better shape. He's got a good attitude about him, and he's kind of ready to go into this season. So I hope so. I haven't seen enough of him, but I think he has a ton of potential, and it's really going to be up to him to go seize that potential. But I wish I could be there at practice. Like I really do. I wish I could be there and see everybody, and I could give you guys a better account of what I think's going on. But I know Jackson was a great player here in Arizona. He played at my alma mater, Mountain View, and we're all really excited about him. So I hope he can be another one of those, solid tight ends for BYU.
You know his physical skills pretty well, at least, and he's a big, strong kid. Is he big enough and strong enough to maybe get in and compete this year and play this year? There's a decent tight end room. Isaac Rex, who played at about 70% last year with that ankle injury, is 100%. So that gives BYU a really solid starter again. You have Mason Wake that kind of plays that H-back, F-back, sometimes tight end when they go two tights. And then Ethan Erickson had a really nice freshman season last year. They like him. So those three guys are there. It's a pretty good tight end room. Yep. Is he good enough physically to maybe get on the field this year, or is it going to be a little bit more of a project, do you think?
I think talent-wise he is. Now, I don't know what his body looks like right now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen him in probably a year. Mm-hmm. So if he has his body ready to go, then the answer is yes. And you know what's funny? I actually just thought of a good comparison for him is Daniel Coates. Mm-hmm. Remember Daniel Coates? Yeah. Like, I think this can be a kid who's good in the run game because Daniel was an awesome blocker, but then he was athletic enough to run routes and get out and catch the ball. So I think that's a pretty good comparison for him, in the tight end room.
Man, we'd take that. That was a great group that, Daniel, there was a whole group of tight ends at that time that were really good. And then Dan went on and played fullback in the NFL for a couple of seasons. So really, really gifted and versatile. I'd love it if he ended up being as good as Daniel Coates.
Max Hall's our guest on the Wise Guys. He won a school record, 32 games as BYU's quarterback, 33 if you count the Alumni Game. Also the offensive coordinator at American Leadership Academy in Queen Creek, Arizona. Max, you have a quarterback who transferred in for the season, 6'3" Enoch Watson, who's committed to play at BYU. Tell us about this guy.
Enoch's a great kid. So I was lucky to get him. He transferred to us. He was living up in Flagstaff playing for a team that didn't really throw the ball very much. And so he wanted to come down and play his senior season here. But I've been really impressed with him. I think BYU is getting not only a great kid, but a great quarterback, because right away when he came in, he was able to gain the trust of his teammates. Right away, we knew he was a humble, hardworking kid. And then I watched him throw for the first time, and I'm like, this kid is talented. So if he can put all this together, I got a special player here. So I'm really looking forward to what he does this season. But even after this season, I'm looking forward to what he can do at BYU. I think he has the size, the talent, the skill set, the leadership ability to really be something special at the next level. So my job this year is to get him ready for that. And, also I think we're going to have a pretty good team this year and, see what damage we can do.
It's an interesting kind of a scenario for you. A little pressure maybe, like for you and Ty. Well, here comes this kid. You're sending him to BYU, right? And, we were looking at the numbers for you and Ty combined. 26,396 passing yards, 215 touchdowns, a Heisman Trophy. I mean, you guys just can't send anybody up here. He can't be a dog when he gets up here. If you guys are sending him, you better be pretty good, right? So no pressure or anything, but you got to get this guy ready to come up here.
I'll get him ready. Don't worry about that. I'll get him ready. Now, the only thing I'm a little worried about is I'm a little short in the offensive line. Yeah. I don't have a ton of linemen this year, so I actually went down and met with Steve Clark. And he was gracious enough to spend like 2.5, 3 hours with me going over different formations and protections and boots and different stuff where I can move the
quarterback around a little bit. Yeah, makes sense.
And the other thing too is we're going to be running some of their stuff this year. So Enoch's already going to get to run some of BYU's stuff in preparation for that. But I was really happy after my meeting there. I think I got some really good scheme to help us out in that area and let Enoch do his thing.
Well, and Steve was on the show last week here. What a great coach and what a fantastic human being, huh? I know you know him pretty well. Amazing person.
He's one of the best. You know what I mean? He was a GA at BYU when I was there and got to know him and became friends with him, and then followed his coaching career. And now that he's back at BYU, I believe Ty is the one who brought him back to BYU, right, as his tight ends coach. And he's small in stature and he'll tell you that. But when you start talking with him, you start understanding that this guy knows football.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very smart and talented and coaches. And he's an awesome coach. So I actually called A-Rod to meet with him. And he's like, dude, go meet with Steve. He's there. Like he'll give you everything you need. So he's a good friend and a great coach. And, I just love the guy. He's a great dude.
And he's a shredder on the guitar, he told us last week.
No, he isn't.
That's
he
what he
really?
He said he's a shredder. Yeah, he can play. And his daughter chimed in with a question about being the ultimate shredder. And he goes, yeah, I do that. It's like, he just got more cool. The longer we talked to him, he got more cool.
He's a Renaissance man.
Hey, I know you have practice here in just a few minutes, so we got one more question for you. The expectations you have for BYU in this first year as a Power 5 program. What do you got?
I'm not going to go with a record. I don't know if you guys are setting me up with like
No, you don't have to. You don't have to do that. We've thrown that out there. I just said if they won 7, I'd be thrilled. But I'm not going to be surprised if they win 8 or 9 games this year. I have that much confidence in what they got coming back, especially on the offensive side. So I've set the over under at 7, which I think is reasonable. We're just saying like what things will make you feel good? What would be your measuring stick for a successful season for them this year?
I just think I think number one, they need to play like they got nothing to lose. You know what I mean? Like going into this thing, they can't pucker up. They can't make it a bigger moment than what it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And they need to go in there and they need to fight and prove that they belong. And I think this is a critical season, first one, where they go in there and say, hey, we belong here. We're not here to roll over and be a bottom half of this league. We're here to win this league and set the tone early and inside the team at BYU. That needs to be the attitude. That needs to be the tone, is that we're not just going to try to compete in this league. We're going to win. And I think if you have that attitude and that confidence going into these games, I think we have the team and the talent to win a lot of these games. And I think 7's a good number. And I think everybody would be happy with that number, 7 or more.
Yeah. ALA kicks off the season Friday, August 25th against Saguaro. Am I saying that right? Saguaro?
Isn't it Saguaro?
Seguro?
It's Saguaro.
Saguaro cactus.
Oh, so it's those cactus we see when we drive into Phoenix.
The
Saguaro.
ones with the big arms,
Yeah, Saguaro.
Listen, I looked at it. I looked at the spelling. I didn't come up with that.
Yeah.
So that's the opener. That's just a few weeks out. How excited are you for this season?
I'm really excited. I love our team. I love these kids. I love coaching them. I love getting the most out of them. And, we will not be the most talented and biggest team with a lot of the opponents we'll play, but we got kids with a lot of heart. We got kids that want to learn and execute. And honestly, we have a great coaching staff. Our kids will be ready to go. And, Saguaro, they just got a new coach, Zach Hill, who was the offensive coordinator at ASU a few years ago. And so that's going to be a nice challenge. And I don't know what defense he's going to throw at me and what's going on, but I'm excited to get this thing going. And we have a really good opponent to start the season.
All right, Max, we wish you the best of luck. We've got you booked for the pregame show on the Oklahoma game, right, November?
Are you coming up in November for that game to come on with us? We asked you before when you said, if I'm up there, I'm on the show. So we're just asking again.
Game?
It's November 18th.
Yeah, Oklahoma at home.
Oh, I have to be at that
That's
game.
what we were thinking. That's why we thought that would be
show.
the time to have you on the pregame show. So just
right.
put it down and just plan on it, all right?
And we're going to plan on it.
Jack told me he owes me for tearing my Achilles, so I'm going to hit him up. So come on, man.
Hit him up.
For the game,
He
dude.
owes you tickets, so that'll be a good one.
We'll plan to have you on the show, and best of luck, and we'll touch base with you as you get into your season. The great Max Hall on the Wise Guys.
Good luck, Max.
Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you.